There is a memory echoing in your field, a prior shockwave, a season when life upended and you emerged changed. The current feeling may be familiar, like déjà vu, laced with fresh instruction. Some of you are at a crossroads now, a decision that arrives earlier than expected, a door that opens before you feel ready, a meeting that is too perfectly timed to be random, yet too inconvenient to be easy. Awkward, yes. Weird, perhaps. But awkward is not a verdict. It is a threshold. Move through without dramatizing what need not be dramatic. Keep your inner equilibrium even when the room tilts. You are protected in motion and protected in stillness. What matters is your alignment, not the speed of your steps. Pay attention to small silences. Spirit rarely shouts. Guidance often hides in ritual. Steam curling from morning tea, the hush before sunrise, the pause in a conversation when your body already knows the truth. Create these listening posts. In the absence of quiet, you can confuse loudness for importance. But in true quiet, your compass recalibrates. You can hear the next instruction before the mind argues. Also, track your dreams and waking symbols. The astronomer speaks through constellations that your logical mind might overlook, repeating numbers on receipts, overheard phrases that answer questions you didn't ask aloud, a random image that feels oddly personal, the universe leaving you breadcrumbs to the center of your own life. Somewhere inside this process, there's a gift with your name on it, literal or symbolic, but unmistakably yours. I see it wrapped and waiting, not as a reward for perfection, but as a response to your willingness. Detours may carry you to it, which brings us to the spirit animal stepping forward as guide, Coyote. Trust in divine detours. Number 16 glows on this card, a light code, a breadcrumb. Have you found yourself choosing what seemed like the perfect next step? Right person, right job, right move, only to watch it evaporate or invert. The Hanged Man predicted this flip. Coyote is the trickster teacher who escorts you into those reversals, not to humiliate you, but to educate you where success alone might leave you shallow. Sometimes you taste disappointment, so you can recognize the flavor of genuine joy when it finally arrives. Sometimes you revisit an old pattern just long enough to remember viscerally why it cannot be part of your future architecture. Coyote also carries a protection message. Be mindful of dazzling prizes that demand your center as payment. Fascination can make you reckless. If you notice yourself gripping too tightly, white-knuckled around an outcome, a person, a timeline, remember that obsession is a fragile bridge. Let Great Spirit reroute you if needed. The detour you resent now may be the exact road that keeps your heart unbroken, your purpose intact, and your timing blessed. Laugh gently at the zigzags. Lighten your step. There is a better form beckoning, even if you can't name it yet. If you've been walking with me and this reading is serving your path, this is a good moment to subscribe here at Signs and Secrets so you won't miss the next chapter of your own unfolding. And here's your personal invitation. In the comments, share your date of birth and zodiac sign and add one line about what you're calling in this season. Not for the algorithm, though it helps, but to declare your intention in a circle that honors it. Let your words become a small ritual of arrival. We seal this transmission with an angel number, 7, spirit opening. When 7 brushes your day on clocks, pages, addresses, it's a lens cleaner for the soul, urging you to look at the bigger picture beyond the nearest inconvenience. Mysticism thickens around you now, not as fantasy, but as a deeper reality peeking through. Trust the internal knowing that doesn't ask you to argue, only to act with quiet certainty. Divine love surrounds you, like weather you can feel but cannot see, and it wants to move from background to foreground. Let it anchor in love when conversations tug at fear. Anchor in love when options multiply, and you want the one that frees you. Anchor in love when rest feels indulgent. It isn't. It's maintenance for the instrument you are. This reading has not promised the absence of storm. It has promised your presence within it. The astronomer widened your gaze. The Hanged Man inverted your vantage point. The 5 of Wands trained your resilience. Temperance taught your hands to mix fire and water without extinguishing either. Coyote loosened your grip on outcomes, and 7 opened your sky. Together they sketch a map. Let curiosity lead, let patience pace you, let boundaries hold what matters, and let trust finish the sentences you can't yet complete. Midway through the path ahead, on a day you might call ordinary, something quiet will click into place. You'll realize you no longer need a sign to do what you already know is right. That's when the blessing stops circling and lands. If the cadence of these words has held you steady today, tap the like button gently as a way of saying "I'm in" to your own realignment. And if you've been thinking about going deeper with us, Support Signs and Secrets, become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. This work is sustained by community, and you are part of that constellation now. Keep sharing in the comments your date of birth, your zodiac sign, and one practice you're committing to this week that brings you back to center. Journaling at sunrise, a phone-free hour, a walk where you listen more than you think. Witnessing each other's small vows creates a field where large changes become possible. The closing reminder is simple and strong. You have the power you need, and you are learning to use it without burning yourself. You are allowed to step back from stories that are not yours, to say no without apology, to say yes when your entire body leans forward even if no one else understands. You are allowed to be new, and you are allowed to be tender while you are fierce. As you move, look for the interplay of signs and choices. Both matter. When in doubt, place your hand over your heart, soften your breath, and ask for the next right step. Then take it, even if it is small. Especially if it is small. If today's reading resonated, make sure you're subscribed to Signs and Secrets so you can keep walking this path with the guidance you need, exactly when you need it. And as we close, one last nudge. If this brought you clarity or calm, please like the video. It helps the message reach those who are searching for it in the dark. Leave your birth date and zodiac sign below, so our circle can hold your intentions with you. May your nights be restful, your mornings deliberate, and your choices faithful to the life you came here to live. If you want to hear everything the universe has to say to you, watch these other videos on our channel. If this message has reached you, it isn't coincidence, it's alignment. A wave of transforming force is approaching your timeline, the kind that rearranges assumptions and shakes the dust from old beliefs. Breathe deeply, plant your awareness in your body, and soften the edges of your heart. What follows is a wake-up call coded in compassion, meant to steady your steps and recenter your spirit while the ground shifts beneath you. We step into this reading not as spectators, but as co-creators of what is rising. The incoming energy reveals itself through an archetype, the astronomer. This pattern may appear as a person, an event, or a stirring inside you. Its light qualities are probing, inquisitive, and broad-minded. Eyes lifted to the heavens, mind open to larger patterns. Its shadow shows up narrowly focused, isolated and abstract, so devoted to the sky that it forgets the earth beneath its feet. This archetype arrives as the first ripple of the shockwave, a concentrated nudge asking you to look farther and look deeper, to question without fear, and to widen your lens even when urgency tries to shrink it. Whether it enters your week as a conversation, a late-night thought spiral, a documentary you accidentally click, or a literal person fascinated with stars and cycles, it comes with a purpose. It is here to test, reveal, and ultimately bless. As the astronomer sets the tone, the cards answer. The hanged man appears, suspending the usual pace of life, inviting a pause that feels like limbo, but is really an initiation. Something in your world may not compute right now. Details float, explanations tangle, outcomes blur. Yet this suspension is not punishment. It is perspective. When life turns you upside down, your vision slowly rights itself to a truer horizon. Clarity is entering, not as a sudden spotlight, but as dawn. Quiet, patient, irresistible. If you've been asking for signs, answers, reassurance, or a single clean sentence to explain why things have unfolded the way they did, know that the explanation is approaching in layers. The Hanged Man tells you a deep reframing is underway, and the axis of your understanding will click into a new alignment. Pause with me, and if you're new here at Signs and Secrets and you feel the resonance building, consider subscribing so we can walk this path together as the story keeps unfolding. This is a living conversation with spirit. Being here means you're choosing to listen to your own soul with more courage than before. The Five of Wands then strides in, fiery and unafraid, naming a truth many prefer to avoid: change. Even sacred change often feels messy. Friction increases, schedules shift, others' agendas collide with your needs. The old scaffolding rattles as the new foundation cures. You may feel compelled to defend your energetic ground, to set the boundary no one else will set for you. In the language of the astronomer, this is the moment when the telescope shakes in a gust of wind. Your job is not to curse the wind, but to steady the tripod and keep looking. Cosmic timing, planetary alignments, divine detours, the subtle choreography of seasons has started clicking into pattern for your benefit, even if your nervous system interprets the noise as threat. You are being asked to shapeshift rather than snap, to bend, flex, and adapt without abandoning your center. Temperance arrives next, carrying water in one hand and fire in the other, reminding you that balance is not a static pose, but a living practice. If life has felt off kilter, too loud in one area, too silent in another, this is the recalibration. It may draw you back home, which might be a place, a ritual, or a way of breathing you've neglected. It urges you to return to your own middle, to the pulse that belongs to you and no one else. And while this reading speaks collectively, honor your inner compass. As you imagine each card, let your intuition speak before any explanation does. When you listen that way, the reading personalizes itself, and what was general becomes exact. You might feel as if a storm icon is parked on your personal weather map. In the mind's eye, a swirling hurricane spins, outer bands sweeping through relationships, routines, and roles. Some of you may literally be watching weather shift. Others are tracking emotional and energetic weather that's just as real. Still, the teaching remains. Storms pass and they leave reshaped coastlines. Even when a clearing looks like chaos, it's often the only way the path appears. And here is a twist you may not expect. You are not just enduring the shockwave. You are becoming it. When you stand in your frequency with calm insistence and act in alignment, your energy surges like a bright star, flaring in a moonless sky, and that pulse travels outward, reordering what it touches. In the Hanged Man's corridor, confusion dissolves in stages. Not everything must make sense to be sacred. Listen to the quiet thread running through the noise, the low hum of inner knowing that never tries to scare you into obedience. That is where spirit whispers. Temperance asks for your participation. Balance is not delivered. It is built, choice by choice. Notice how often the word balance crosses your path over the next days, in conversations, articles, passing comments. Take it as a drumbeat. If career has sprinted while your body lags, choose the pause. If a relationship swallows your calendar, choose your breath back. If you've been carrying someone else's storm in an attempt to be kind, remember that kindness doesn't require drowning. Yes, there is release here. Not a dramatic purge, but a steady outbreath, shedding a version of yourself you've outgrown, returning borrowed stories to their owners, reweaving your daily hours so your life speaks your name again. Pay attention to lunar timing. The full moon glows in the temperance imagery for a reason. Between now and the next full moon, the adjustments you make will anchor more deeply than usual, like roots finding water after a long search. Midway through this unfolding, if this message is landing and you want to support this kind of work in your own life, gently tap the like button. It helps more seekers find what they need without algorithmic noise getting in the way. Support Signs and Secrets. Become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. The Five of Wands describes turbulence, interference, and the temptation to become reactive. But your task is subtler. Refuse to let external chaos write your internal script. You're not here to echo the loudest room. You're here to hold a steady tuning fork until others remember their pitch. Some of you are dealing with energy drains, gossip, endless messaging, the unhealed knocking on your door at 2 a.m. with a suitcase of problems you didn't pack. Love them, but don't absorb them. No is a boundary and a prayer at once. Your field is a gate, and you are the gatekeeper. You decide what comes through. Curate your circle to include those who lift your frequency, not because you're superior, but because you're responsible for your stewardship. Water appears in the imagery, reminding us that emotions will find the lowest point if they're not tended. You are responsible for your waters. You are not responsible for teaching other adults how to swim while they pull you under. Let people meet their lessons on their own shores. Stand on yours, grounded and kind, but firm about the difference between compassion and rescue. Spirit is asking you to practice peace without passivity, strength without hardness, receptivity without collapse. When you live that way, disturbance remains outside your walls, and creativity returns to your rooms, and you begin to glimpse the contours of the blessing this whole upheaval is carving for you.